Revelations chapter 1 and verses 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and the girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they were burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rekakwadash. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, and double honors to the elders at Great Millstone. And this lesson is entitled, Who is this man? Okay, and that's the image that you're looking at. Who is this man? All right. Okay, so as we listen to the description going out, it's clear that it's not this man in this image. Okay, when we go to verse 14, it tells us his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet unto fine brass, as if they were burned in a furnace. So if you burn anything in a furnace, it's going to be a dark color. And his voice is the sound of many waters. So again, who is this man? Well, we have indication of who he is. This is Cesare Borgia, okay, of the Borgia family. All right. During the 14th century, when they came over here and conquered the Native Americans, this is the image they presented, okay, and they wanted people to bow down to. It's the same image that they presented to the tribe of Judah, all right, that was over in Europe. Okay? As you can see, this is Cesare Borgia, all right? September the 13th, 1475 is when he was born. And in 1507, he died, all right? So he would have been around during the time of the rebirth or the Renaissance period, okay, when they were establishing themselves. The so-called white man was reestablishing himself in the Americas over here in after the conquering of the Moors, the so-called Negroes, the Israelites that were ruling all over in Europe. Okay, he would have been present. Okay, all right. So that's who they used to deceive the world, is his image. Okay, and that would be the Pope. All right, and the rulers of Spain. Okay. Okay, so what did he look like? That's the question. What did he look like? All right. So when we examine the next photo here, this is the image, all right, of how he does look. Okay, and let's read about it again. Revelation 1 and 13. All right, we'll go down to 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass. They were burned in the furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. So he would have been a dark-skinned man, woolly white hair. Okay, all right. That's how he would have looked. Okay. Genesis 49:12. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. All right. This lets you know why his eyes were red, as mentioned in Revelations, the 1st chapter. So, who is this man? Okay. Again, it's Cesare Borgia. All right. They presented him to the world as the Savior. Okay. When actually he really was a Negro. Okay. So it was a so-called white man that did this and brought this forth all over the world. This image here. Revelations chapter 20 says that he would deceive the whole world. And that would be one of the main ways he would deceive the world, through this image. All right. All right, we'll start at verse 7. Revelation 20:7. All right. After they came out of darkness in the 1300s, all right, Esau, Edom, the Edomites, they rose back into power and took down Jacob, all right, the so-called Negroes over there in Europe. And they also took down the so-called Native Americans, who are Israelites from the Americas, all right? And they gave them, the Native Americans and the Negroes, Christianity and Catholicism. They deceived the whole world with this. Revelation 20 and verse 7, when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of prison. They will rise back into power and establish a Renaissance period, okay, in the 1400s, all right, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So once they came back into power, they went forth to deceive the nations. And the main way that they deceive the nations is with this image of the Messiah being the so-called white man. And they establish white supremacy.
Daniel 10:5. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. Daniel 10:6. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude.